What's up, everyone? So the video has finally come, the Avant 4. So I'm in the E46 right now, and let's go over this head unit, see what it's all about, and see if it's worth it or not. Alright, so when you start the car, you can immediately put it in reverse, and it will show the backup camera regardless of whether the unit is turned on or not within like seconds. And then put in park, so it will still start up while it's in reverse. And it takes about 28 seconds to load up all the way. So the first thing I want to say is my phone is in my pocket. As you can see, it's not connected yet. I have Carplay because I bought the wireless Carplay. Now it's pretty smooth. It works pretty well. I can play music and whatnot. Carplay is great, and this works really well. However, we should probably dive in more about this because Carplay will work on any Android unit well. Sorry about this USB thing right here. And the one issue with this is, as you can see, it doesn't really go in all the way. I don't know why this is, but as you can see, it comes out really easily. And it doesn't go in all the way. So this is one common issue with this, is after a while, it will come out, and that's just unfortunate, but that is something that happens. This is the home screen that you see here, and this is autoplay. This is basically the CarPlay or Android Auto, and this is basically what you have. So the radio works pretty well. Here you could turn it off by doing this. That's a little button there, which is pretty cool. Another thing about this is if you click Bluetooth, you basically have multiple things here. This is the settings basically where you can, do this auto answer, auto connect, ever calls and all this. I'm not connected, so you can't really see it. Bluetooth works fine. Now, what I want to talk about is this. This is really good. So the loudness function on here is really good. It makes a huge difference inside the audio. The sub doesn't do anything. I don't know why I turned it up. So you also have the fader and whatnot. And, you can control all this. But what I will say is this radio, this DSP chipset is probably good enough. Like, I don't think you're going to need the more expensive one, and I probably wouldn't spend any money into it. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. The touchscreen itself, it's smooth enough. It's definitely not on the same level as a phone, even though everyone claims that. Overall, it's great. So it's hard to tell here, but the colors look great. The display looks good. It looks high quality, and it just looks great. This is something I did not expect from this unit, but this is one of the reasons I like this unit. And we'll go take a look at the Eon unit in my E90 for a bit, just to show you the difference in quality of the screen. So this is the head unit. It's hard to tell, but the colors just seem very, very, very crappy, if you will. It's really hard to tell, huh? The one issue I have with this is the brightness. Now, if you go into setting, you go into the display, put a brightness level. I can obviously turn this up all the way. It's bright. It's very bright. However, if I put the top down, it's even at this brightness level, it's kind of hard to see the screen. Next, let's talk about the buttons. So we have the home button, the back button. This is a button. You press this and it shows you all the apps and whatnot. We have that. This is like the menu button for things. Then we have the radio button here. We have the AMS, APS, Bluetooth band. This is the hang up. This is the volume knob. I'm really happy they kept the volume knob here. Here we have music. If you click this, it goes to the Bluetooth music player, which looks like this. And then we have the EQ, loud, on, play. We have the cam. I press the cam button. Cannot see anything. But if we switch this here, it doesn't work because my camera only works when I'm in reverse. It doesn't work unless it's because of the wiring that I did. So next we have an SD card reader here of the modes and whatnot. Now over here, if I open the door, it shows me here that the door is open, right? But on here, it doesn't show anything. So if I close the door, the door doesn't show anything. Now I'm gonna compare this to my E46 later, and we'll go over that later. These are all the stock apps that it comes with and whatnot. Wi-Fi. If you saw my install video, the Wi-Fi antenna is inside, but as you can see, it can get some Wi-Fi, and I'm not that far away from other cars and whatnot. But yeah, it can get Wi-Fi. Signal's not that bad. The cool thing I like about the top is there's a battery voltage. Then of course we have. You could turn Wi-Fi on and off from up here, which is great. So if we go ahead and go into Carplay, and we want to go to music, let's say I want to play something, right? So let's say I want to skip the song. I can actually use the buttons here to skip it. So if I press this button, you're gonna see. Now the volume also works. There is a DVR app. I can't use it because I don't have a DVR. There's a calculator app if you want to use a calculator, which is hilarious, I think. And then we have FCam, Maps, YouTube. You can actually watch YouTube on here, and I can actually watch my videos. This is an actual YouTube app, which is crazy. Then the IBIS app. Now this is the IBIS app, and if we turn on the car, as you can see that the engine is cold. You can do controls here. PDC, I don't have PDC, so I can't do anything. But basically, you can do a lot of things here. But unfortunately, we don't have that option, so we can't do anything. Unfortunately, I didn't buy the IBIS adapter because it was an additional, I think it was $89 or $99, somewhere around there. But, at the time of purchase, this was already $550. I'm just like, nah, I don't think I need this. But if you can get it at the time of purchase, I would recommend it. Excuse me. It's pretty cool. There is, I think, 1 or 2 videos on YouTube that show what the IBIS app can do in depth. I definitely recommend checking those out. But don't worry about that, because anything you don't buy at the time of purchase can be bought later on and for the same price. This is the reason I didn't kind of buy it at the time of purchase, is because it was a lot of money. But when I looked later, I noticed that you can actually go to the website and buy each individual thing. Basically, such as for me, that would have been the backup camera, the wireless CarPlay adapter. I can buy all those separately for the exact same price. So if you don't buy something at the time of purchase, that's fine. You can get it later. And I'm still on the fence whether I want the IBIS app or not, because this is no longer my daily driver. My E90 is actually my daily driver now. So yeah, I'm kind of investing some money in that now, so we'll see. So one of the things I like about this is the ability to move around stuff. So if I hold this down, I can move it around, which is really cool. And if you go to the all apps, if you go, you want to move something, let's say you want to move YouTube, you can basically do this and move it to the next screen and do this. So if you have Android Auto or even CarPlay and you use the Wire, I've had no issues with both operating systems. So Wire is 100% so far and no issues at all. However, when I use my iPhone in wireless CarPlay mode, there's I want to say a 90% success rate. There's been I think maybe 2 times where it disconnected, or actually both times are just disconnected. It disconnected and reconnected, but other than that, besides that little issue, it's been pretty stable. It has wireless CarPlay. None of my other cars have wireless CarPlay. They have CarPlay, but this car is 2002. That's pretty impressive, and the fact that it actually runs really well. I drove a 2019 330. Was it 330i? I think it was 330i. 320, 330, 330, something like that. Anyways, it was the latest one, and it had wireless CarPlay. It worked for 2 days, and then after those 2 days, it never worked again. I tried resetting the radio. I tried making a new partnership. It just stopped working completely. And that was a rental that I drove for 2 weeks. So, this one I've been driving for a few months now, and only 2 times have I had an issue. But CarPlay always connects. I turn on the car. I don't have to press anything. It loads up all by itself, which is really nice. The same is true if you have something connected through the wire. So if I hook up let's say hook up my Galaxy Note through the USB before the car is even turned on, and then I turn on the car, I don't have to press any buttons. It will automatically load up CarPlay or Android Auto, which is really cool. So one thing that I was kind of disappointed about was the updates. So this machine, or this unit, if we look it up, it's running Android 9, okay? And here's the actual build number. It's 2019-12-17. And that's not too old. However, they now sell a Android 10 version, and they have a PX6 and a Snapdragon version. And what I will say is, I did message them and ask them, like, hey, you know, you guys are selling the PX6 with Android 10, so, you know, when can I get an update for my head unit? And they're like, we have no ETA for any updates right now. And I'm just like, well, that sucks. You guys are selling it with the new version, the same exact model that I have, the PX6 with Android 10, but there's no update file. Whether or not Android 10 is going to be better or not, I don't know. Honestly, I like having the latest and greatest, so for me, it's like, you know. But don't worry, no matter which Android head unit supplier you buy from, they're all going to be like this. Even Eonin is like this. Like, none of them are going to provide, you know, softer updates. But we'll see. I'll see if they give me an update later on, you know, in like a few months or so, or in a month or so, if they do release an update. What I will say is, if you were to buy one today, buy the Snapdragon version. Do not buy any of the other versions. The Snapdragon version should be the fastest, the smoothest, and it's the latest with Android 10 as well. I definitely recommend that model. Speaking of updates and whatnot, so there's an option here under car where you can go to extra settings. So mine's pretty much unlocked right now, so I can do a lot of stuff. But if yours is locked, the password is 126. You can enable video while watching, which I don't recommend you to do, but you know, there's this factory settings. Oh, here we go. This is the one. So this one, oops, it's the wrong one. It's 126. Okay, so if you click OK here we go. So we have a bunch more options here. This is where you change. This is where you change the car logo. So I can change mine to BMW. You know, any other one. Then there's the radio. You can basically change what frequencies it supports, you know, voice. This is your, if you have the issue where a lot of people do, where your volumes are not synchronized, like your radio is louder, your Bluetooth's louder, this is where you would fix it. So come here. I think I already fixed mine, because these are not all 10s like this when I did it. But yeah, that's basically, you know, the settings. There's a few more settings here you guys can play with, but it's definitely not super open, but this unit is definitely more open than the Eonin unit, I'll say that much. There's an APK installer if you want to install, you know, an APK file. Although that's not really necessary as much, since there is a Play Store. It does work. It has all of Google's services. They all work perfectly fine, which was really nice to see. And honestly, this unit's really nice. Going back to this unit from the Eonin on my E90, just using it, you know, back and forth, going between my E90 and this, I can really see the difference between the Avin units and the Eonin units. Like, the Eonin, you cannot, I don't know if this is true for the older models, but the one I have in the E90, these settings are so limited. There are so little things you can change. Even with the secret menu that I showed you on here, there's not as many options on the Eonin unit, and I don't know. I don't like that. I like having as many options as I can, and especially because this is an Android operating system. We're literally running an Android operating system. You can install nearly any app that you can install on your Android phone on here, which is really cool. I'd say if I had to choose any units to put in an E46, it would be this unit, the Avant Avant 4. Definitely get the Snapdragon model. Do not get the PX30, the PX5. If you want to save a little bit of money, get the PX6 at the minimum. Do not get the other models. They're slow. I'll tell you that right now. I have a PX30 in the other car. It's slow. Do not get it. But this is a great unit. Even if you have factory navigation system and everything, I'd probably still choose this, because wireless CarPlay, first of all, is super useful. This unit makes the car sound better. I have the Harman Kardon premium sound, and I had the business radio, and this sounds better, especially with the loudness turned on. With the loudness turned off, it doesn't sound that much better. With the loudness mode turned on, it does sound better. On the E90, it's the opposite. The aftermarket head unit sounds worse. So you guys will hear about that in my E90 video if you guys want to watch that. That'll come in a bit. I'll put a link in the description to where to get this. I'll also put in the description what I bought personally. And if you haven't seen my other videos, I have a installation of this head unit specifically into the car, which was kind of plug and play, really. The other installation is the backup camera that I also did in this car, so you can also check out that video. I'll have them at the end of this video. So anyways, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and as always, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.